Are you able to record now?
Yep, I'm recording now.
All right, there we go. Let me go ahead and share my screen and we'll get this party started. Are you able to see my screen?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So thank you, everybody. I apologize for technical difficulties here, but I think we hopefully will move forward. If I disappear again, it's about time to get a new computer, I guess. So for those of you, you guys, has anybody not been able to log in or has not gotten any sort of password, you should have gotten an email that you've been invited to an ARIA account.
Yeah, I logged in, but all I saw was the demo video, and then I didn't have these buttons that you've got at the top, the create schedule players. I didn't have that. I just had the demo.
And what was your name?
Tam, T-A-M, Tamina. So
let me see. And I'm going to go ahead and share some information. You guys will be able to see the account here. This is, let's see. And what's your last name? Oh, here we go.
Yep.
It looks like you have the ability, but let me go ahead. Let's see, to ability to schedule, create.
I should have permissions to everything.
Okay, I don't, and that's something that Ben can change.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, right now it's just you don't have admin permissions, you have everything else. So you should be able to see everything, and I'm not sure why you wouldn't. It does show you here. So once again, Ben has the ability because he's set up as an admin. He can modify anybody's permissions here.
Okay.
So if you guys should be able to log in and actually click on this button up here and see the same thing here. You create, schedule, players, alerts, assuming you have access. Now there's some that, let's say you don't have access to players, that will be removed. You won't be able to see that. And a lot of people I believe will not have access to the players there. And the reason why is just it can modify, delete players, and we don't want that anybody's disappearing there. So most people are going to start at create, but I'm going to kind of run through a few things. The first thing I want to run through is support. And this is a place you're going to get questions answered, but it also has a lot of videos that can be used. As you can see, here's a frequently asked questions and tutorials up top. So the tutorials videos, you can see right here, there's a number of them. If I click on just tutorials, and it'll walk through and you can see underneath what it's referring to: style, RSS, clock, PDF, weather, various things that you can actually look and see a ton of different short videos on. These are very, very helpful, and they'll walk you through step by step how to accomplish different things in there and explain different things. You also have the ability to click on support and do a little type and do a little research. If you're looking for something on, like alerts, you can see the top suggestions up here. But right down here is one of the best things, and that's live chat. So if I click on that live chat, you can see I've got 4 people right here that are manning this right now, and you can ask them any question regarding the software, and they'll be able to answer those questions. And typically what they do is provide you with a link on where you can find more information on that. So it's a very useful, and it's what you guys can do anytime you have any questions there. So I did want to start there because I think it is the most useful. So create, that's where most people are going to spend your time, creating and modifying content. So when I click on create, it defaults to the template tab. So as you can see up here, here's the templates. It'll take a minute just to kind of load these templates. There's 12 different templates. These are really just a starting point for you guys. You can choose to use them or not. Some people just go right to files. So the way you modify these templates, so you can actually modify the templates entirely. In other words, it modifies all 12 of them just by clicking over here. So changing the colors is just as simple as clicking on here. Let's say we're going to make that purple, and we're going to make this a gray color. It changes all the templates to match. And then maybe this, we're going to make black. And now all 12 of these templates have a new starting point just by doing that. You can also choose to do the different text fonts, and you can actually add a text font by clicking the plus button here. So pretty basic. And then you can actually save this as a new template list, new template set, just by saving as a new template name there. I'm going to back out of there here in just a minute. You can see here's a starting point where all it is just a logo up in the one corner here, or here's just the logo, and you can start from here. So I'm going to go into one. Let me see. I'll just go in. I like to use the weather. A lot of people like, they like to have their weather on their digital signage. So we'll start here. So the weather, as you can see, it's really just a weather feed and a background image. You can modify that background image by simply clicking on the background image and choosing a new image. Okay. So let's go ahead and I just choose this one here. I'm not even sure what that is. So now I've got a picture of one of the facilities, it looks like, and that's used as your background image. Modifying where we're looking at the weather for, just simply clicking on here. And let's type in, let's see, I know Toledo, Ohio is one of the locations. So Toledo, Ohio, and I'm going to choose a different color here. I'm not very big fan of the teal, so modify this. And then if I click here, I can choose Fahrenheit, because most people in the US are using Fahrenheit and not Celsius. And there you go. Now I've modified that. Pretty ugly looking, but you get the idea. Same thing, change the font here. Also, we can change the way this looks if we just want it to have a single day. So let's say the current temperature now, it's very intuitive. I can do it to 3 days. Well, that's 4, so 3 days would be here. Or I can change the orientation. Let's say I want to do it in portrait orientation. Instead, I do this here and then maybe move this up here. Pretty easy. There's a number of widgets that are over here on the right-hand side. Each one of these, if you highlight over, it'll actually tell you what it is. So shape is really just a color fill, so we can, have background color if you want. I'm gonna delete these as I put them up. Text, so you can type text in here, and the color of that text and everything is modified easily over here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this to change the font, or I'm sorry, the color. That's pretty hard to read there. They're all going to be hard to read in the middle there. Changing the size of the font, same thing, and changing the font that you're actually using. Pretty simple. Clicking next is going to take me to basically save this template here, but I'm just going to go ahead and modify a few things. Let me delete this here. Having a little difficult deleting. All right, well, I'm going to move on. You can actually bring in images or videos if you have them. Clicking on this button will allow you to upload something from your computer, add it to the screen. So if we want to add this logo here, we can do that, move it up to here in the upper left-hand corner, modify the size of it. The clock, pretty self-explanatory. You can change the transparency on that clock. You can change it from 24 hours to 12 hour. You can do the date instead of the time. So you can do one with the time, one with the date. Same thing, background colors, text colors, whether it's in English or different languages, you can actually do different languages, so on and so forth. Excuse me. We have a countdown timer. So pretty popular around Christmas time. If you want to choose a date in the future, it will count down to that date. The weather, we already have that, but you can add that on a screen where it's not there. RSS feed. This is something where it's going to default to the image in the background, and you can see, but if you want, you can just see the text. You just kind of have to do this, and it removes the image. Where it's getting information from, there's many RSS feeds built into this, so you can kind of scroll through and see if there's one that you want to use. A lot of people are going to use just your basic headline news, and then put it where you want it. Change the background once again. There are, excuse me, I didn't touch on the color, so I did touch on the background color, but you can actually change the transparency. So instead of having a background color, we can use a slider here and just change the transparency so it's completely transparent and just the words appear. The QR code, pretty popular in digital signage. I don't know how much you guys use it, but if you want people to visit a website, simple as just putting a QR code, typing in the name of the website, and it changes. So now if somebody scans that QR code, it'll automatically take their mobile device and move to that website, or they'll have to accept it. There is a wayfinding option here. So you can, if you just have like, you want to tell people where things are at, you can also change these arrows just by clicking on them. You can change to be, if you have something upstairs, you can change the 45 degrees. So you can downstairs, upstairs, to left, right, so on and so forth. The menu, just kind of this is obviously just a table. The size of the table is dictated right here. So you can have size, it's the size of the actual cells on the table. And then you can just modify the size of the actual table by clicking here, typing things in. This is, like I said, looks like it's for a menu, so you can change pricing, but it's not just that. Anything that could fit in a table would work here, or work with a table. Very easy to modify the information. A similar thing here, it's just the way the table is, it has 2 cells or 2 items in it in each cell. As you can see, they're using this for like a opening, closing, but very similar. So those are the widgets that are available. And if I click on next, it's going to go ahead and want to save this, and then you can assign this to a certain player. And you can you can see here, you've got some animations. You click on player and you can actually choose, because I have admin rights, I can choose any of the players here, or a number of players. So
Todd, do we have the ability to push out like one piece of content to all of the communities?
Yeah, you just, once again,
Like
there's a you can actually select the players, or you can select the smart sync, or you can create a these are the tags that I've created. You can have a tag that has all of the players.
Okay.
So if you create a tag, and we'll go into that here in just a minute when I go over to the players. So I'll show you that in just a second.
I think that's what we want to. Okay, cool. Thank you.
So, and here's the individuals. So this is the individual locations. These are the tags that are available. And you can tell the tags just have different colors. So you can actually set the schedule here. I'm going to go ahead and get out of this. And I'll just go, I want to go back over to create just to show you real quick. If you're just taking a file, so you can let's say you're uploading a file, you see here's all right here. So if you want to upload something for a specific location, you actually, let's say I've got one that's just for Oak Leaf Columbus, I can do that. Or you can tag this with all and have the content for all there, okay? So that way when you're, if you do Smart Sync, what Smart Sync does is it takes your tags, whatever's tagged for each location or for all locations, and then pushes it according to the tags if you just click Smart Sync. But that's just one way to do it, okay? So let's say we're doing uploading a image here, and I'm going to, you can see it's got a tag of Axe Grove. I'm going to tag this with the all tag here. I think I can just drag it. Oh, man. So now I've got this for all. It's just that simple. So you can have it assigned to all. Now, all right now, I've created that tag. There's an all tag, which is, it's kind of the system tag. And I can show you the difference here in a minute. But the files, once again, you can upload a file for a specific location. You can upload a file, I mean, with a specific tag, I should say. But when you're scheduling, and
because I think, Todd, from the corporate communication side, we would most likely send out content for all of the communities. For example, open enrollment is happening, but then the communities would tag their own content for, say, if it's a resident's birthday or somebody new has moved in, or they're celebrating somebody's work anniversary.
Right, and that's something that the system, once again, you can see we have all is always going to be available to it. So all is going to be kind of available on the player side, on the schedule side. So like I'm looking at the schedule, I can look at just the schedule for one location, or I can look at just the schedule for all locations here. That's the same thing with your content. So you can create your content to go to all locations and you tag it with all, or you can tag I'm sorry, these files with all. So I've got all here because I've created a separate tag. I'm gonna delete that. Or you can have all your content, but when you push this content, so let's say I take this player and I wanna add the players that it goes to. So right now I've got just the tags because I have not created a tag with all the players in here. You've got just the specific. So like somebody that wants to push to a specific. So let's go over, I'm gonna go ahead and go to the players. You can see there's an all tag here.
Mm.
And I need to, oops, I thought I could. Whoop. Maybe not. I thought I could actually drag it instead of typing it in. So now I've got this where it will, the tag is all, so it'll take anything from Oakleaf Columbus or anything that's tagged with all.
Okay.
Okay, so you'd have to go through and do this for all of them. This one doesn't have, how about that?
You can either do it from the player side or you could do it from the content side.
No, you have to do it first from the player. The players all have to be tagged because they're going to, otherwise when you try to publish it, you try to publish it to all, you're going to publish it just to the players that have that tag. So
so we have to tag these as, okay, I see what you're saying. So tag these with their names and then tag them as all, each with all. Got it.
Yeah, correct. I'm not sure why this one doesn't have a tag. It was probably added after the fact, I'm guessing. So I think I've tagged all the rest. Here's one that's not online. It's got the tag crescent. So I'm doing this, sorry, I'm doing this while we're sitting here and in real quick because I want to make sure it's available.
Yeah, perfect.
Because I know this obviously is one. And let's see. So now when I go through, and you're going down, let's go back to, oops, I didn't do this one. So now when I go back and I have like my create and you have your files here, and you're choosing a file and you want to publish this file, right now this is going to Ashford of Grove City. If I click on this and I choose all, it's going to push to all of those players. It's going to be available to all of those players, okay? Does that make sense?
Yes, that does. Thank you.
So now all you do is have the all tag. And once again, there's tags or there's specific, the players by name there. And that's just the tags are a little bit easier because of the smart sync. And you guys can look a little bit about that on the, if you go into those tutorials, it'll talk about how smart sync works, but basically it just allows you to come in here, add a bunch of content, upload a bunch of content, add the tag to the content, and just click smart sync on the schedule, and the schedule will go out there and grab all of your content that has those tags and pull it into the schedule instead of you having to add it to the schedule. Okay, because right now I'm just tagging it with this, but when you go in and you do a schedule, if you look at the schedule of the players, I'm going to check like right here. It doesn't look like anything's scheduled for there, but you can go in and click on all, or you can go in and click on things that are just tagged from this location and then grab it and schedule that content. And I think we've gotten a little off track, but typically what you do is create your content. And then as you're going through creating that content, you can assign it to the player and it will, let's see, since Ashford of Mount Washington doesn't look like it's having content, I don't think it'll be a problem to go through. So I'm going to give it, I don't want to push to all of them because there are some people that have content, but let's say you go through, you grab something and here we go. And I'm going to go through and you can see it's right now, it's on Ashford on Broad. I click on this and I add a player. I can either add all or I can add, the Ashford of Mount Washington player. And you can click on the playtime, whatever. I hit OK. All right. When I go over to my players now, let's check out that. I chose the Ashford Mount Washington. Actually, I want to go to schedule. You can actually click on monitoring. It may not actually show up yet. Let's see. Let's see if it's actually already gotten there, because it does take a minute for it to download. Nope, they've already got content. Oh no, I don't have Ashford, Washington here. This is Ashford on Broad. I apologize. I forgot Ashford and Washington didn't have a tag to it. That was a bad choice. Let's go over to players. Sorry, we're getting a little, I've got to go back and fix that. Ashford and Washington doesn't have one. So I'm going to click on this, and you can see the logos here playing. You can see that logo that I added. So I'm looking at just the schedule at Ashford and Mount Washington, and it's got that content that I pushed over to it as we showed. What I wanted to talk to you about is this is what they call an additive schedule. Okay, so when you guys go and add content to these players, it's not going to interrupt the content that's already there. It's going to add it to that content. Okay, so what I did is I added something to the Ashford at Mount Washington, and it went ahead, and if somebody else goes through and adds it, and I'll show you here that just a minute, it will just add to there. So if I go and create, and now I have another item, let's say files, that I want to go ahead and push to that same thing, to that same player. Here we have an RSS feed, pretty harmless. I can go through there, and it looks like it's showing up on Ashford and Broad. I'm going to go ahead and add Ashford and Mount Washington. I'm adding the specific player. You can add the tags. Once again, you can add the all tag, so it'll push to all of them. I don't want to do that. And then I go ahead and click OK. All right. That's all I've done. I've just gone into the content and said, OK, we're going to that player.
Hey, Todd, can I interrupt you real quick?
Sure.
When you're making those tags, is there like a tag manager area, or are they truly just on the fly? Like if I'm in a spot and I just manually type a tag, it creates that tag?
So the tag is associated with content and with player. There's really no tag manager per se. That's a good question. It's actually, if you create a tag, it will show up in all of the locations. So you can kind of create a bunch of tags. I've gone through and named these players. These are according to the players. Right. So when I went through and I added the players, I went ahead and created these tags. Okay.
Yeah. So if we wanted to make a new one, if we're in Grove City's content and we're just like, you know what, I want a tag specific for this, we just manually type it there, and that's how a tag is created.
Correct. You're gonna either create it in the you want to do it on both the player and the content. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, so if I go over here, you can just click a new tag, and whatever I do, whatever I want that tag to be, I just type it in. Now I was under the impression, I thought I could drag. Oh, I can. Okay, so the tags that are existing, you can drag them on.
Yeah.
So like I should have just been able to do this once I've created all to drag it on there. And I thought I could. So let me see, where was I? Oh, I need to create a tag here for Ash. I'm going to name it that. There we go. So now that has those tags. What was I going to? Oh, once I go to this player, I can go to the schedule, or I can go to the reporting here. If I go to the schedules here, we're going to see now that player is going to have both things there that I've added. And you can see that's going to play for this for 10 seconds, this for 10 seconds. And you can even get down to the detail. So if like you guys want to push it to all of the players, but you only want to play this for a certain amount of time, you can actually edit that content. We could have done it when we pushed it over there. So I'm just showing you after the fact, but you could have done it when we were pushing over there. You can go ahead and schedule this to be a certain time to play for a certain number of days. And you can actually shorten up the actual time that it plays. So it's not just playing. You can play it from like 8 to 5, or you can play it for 24/7. So right now this is showing for 24/7, but you can actually modify this to play for a specific time or play for specific dates.
And if you adjust it there, Todd, is because that was if that were tagged with all, would that adjustment go to all the schedules, or is since you're in a schedule, is it just specific to this one?
Yeah, it's just specific for it. When you want to do it is when you're doing the create.
Okay.
So when you're going to the create, and let's say we're doing this and we're adding this to a specific location, and we're adding this to all, let's say, and you're choosing all, you go through here
There. Okay.
and you schedule the specific time. So let's say it's playing from now until December 25th. So you have something that's showing for Christmas, and it's showing only from, let's say, 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. You can actually do that. Then you click OK. That schedule is only going to, it's only going to push that content. And so that schedule will push it across to all of the players now because I've tagged it with all. Okay.
Yeah, and then if I were to by chance go into a specific player and adjust it there, it would be specific just to that player.
That is correct. Yes.
Okay, got it.
Now, one thing I haven't done, because you have, we're looking at all of the players and all of the schedules. You can't specifically like go in there and adjust all of their schedule because all of them is going to be different content. Like I couldn't go through and say, one piece of content because this is on the schedule specific to those players, if that's what you're asking. Like I can't go in here and adjust it now. I have to go in once it's published and adjust each individual.
Each one. Yeah.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. So you need to plan it out ahead of time if it's going to be global. Ideally, you set it up first before you push it to the players.
Correct.
Yeah.
Now,
okay.
Okay. Looks like only a few of these have any content showing on them. And the Ashford and Mount Washington I created. So I'm going to go there and delete stuff. And you can see it's pretty simple to delete stuff off of there. So now Ashford and Mount Washington doesn't have any schedule showing. So it's going to have no content showing. So that's how you go through and actually schedule. I know it's kind of, there's a couple different places to do it. This is really, the schedule is after it's already scheduled. You can go there and modify things. Most people aren't scheduling it from there. They're scheduling when they're going through the create. Okay. The one thing is nice is you can go in there, and as we've shown, the players, to make sure they're playing your content, you can choose one of the players here, the one that's showing online, and you just click on monitoring and it'll actually show what the player's playing. It'll give just a minute here and it'll load the current content. If it's not playing anything, you'll see that screen that just kind of, yeah, this is actually playing content here. So you can see, it'll just be what's playing at that moment. So it says it takes a snapshot. You can reload it and if the content's changed, you can see that it's changing. So there is a reporting feature here that kind of shows you what it's uptime. I don't know how much use that'll be for you guys, probably very little. Let's see, alerts. This is something I do want to cover. This is a nice thing. So if you go through and you create a number of alerts and you don't even have to use this as really alerts, but you want to take over the screen, like you're having an announcement or you want something done right away, you can add an alert. You can upload an actual file just by clicking this here, clicking the upload and actually choosing a file to use. Once that file is loaded, you go through, I'm going to go back to my alerts here, and you can make it take over and just click on players, click on all. And once you click on all, there'll be let's choose, I keep on picking on Ashford, and you click on activate. Okay. Once it's activated, it is pushing, and that is all that is showing on those players for that period of time. And then once you're done, you click on the content and the button will change to deactivate. So then you can deactivate it. So if you have something where you just want to notify everybody or just a subset of players, you can basically take over the screen for a period of time by using the alert function. Any questions with that? Okay. I mean, I kind of went around about way you guys shouldn't have to play with the players, and you may not have access to the players. you'll have access to publish to the players, but actually modifying the players and deleting players. So you'll spend a lot of your time on create and schedule and possibly alerts. I didn't go into custom on the create. It's really, a lot of people are going to start with the templates, but custom is a way to create kind of your own template. So you can start with just a background color and create your own. So it's just creating your own basically, and time. And once this is all done, you click next and you can actually save it as custom content that you created, and you can publish just like you would with the templates, just like you would with the files. I think that's pretty much it. I mean, it gives you a good basis. You know, most people, I have to be honest, they take a file and they push it to a player. It's usually an image or a video that they're pushing to a player, but there is the ability to create kind of an overlay where you have maybe a clock and a background image that shows up in all your content, or a background color. Any questions? So I know it was a little all over the place, and I kind of got a little sidetracked with the good question on the tagging. Once again, the Smart Sync is a way that some people will go through and create just tags and click that Smart Sync, which then brings everything together. Or you can do it just when you have a piece of content you want to push, just go there and push the content to all of the players. The one thing to keep in mind is if you're scheduling it and you're not giving it a time to stop, that content will just keep adding on, so that you keep pushing files, it'll go through and just keep pushing those files, and you'll soon have a schedule that has, you know, hundreds of files that it's pushing. So you do have to go back and kind of clean up that content if you haven't created a stop date for it.
And if we're doing that, Todd, if we don't have a stop date, you have to delete that manually on each one, correct?
You know, that is a good question, and one I can't really answer. I think, you know,
Probably, it sounds like you probably would.
Yeah, I can't see how you would do it in any other way, unless you go through with your create. Let's see, if I go through my, let's say, your files, let's say, and this one, I go through and delete it because it's on a player. It should delete it from that player there, because it's no longer there to play. So I don't want to delete this because it's playing on somebody. Let's find a piece of content. Okay, so I'm going to do a test here, so you're learning with me here. I'm going to assign it to a player. Let's pick on Mount Washington again. Click on OK. So now I'm going to give it a second to load to that player. So we can do the monitoring. I probably should have done the schedule instead. Make sure it's playing though. Why does it say I chose the wrong one, didn't I? There we go. So I'm just going to do a little, I want to do, okay, so that's playing that wall of community. So if I go back over here to our files, you know, I'm not sure I want to delete this because somebody may need this.
You can delete that, that's fine.
Okay. This was the one I had. Nope, that's the wrong one. I had that one.
It's the white background.
Yeah, it's this one right here. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this. And we're going to go ahead to the players. And Mount Washington. Nope, it did not delete that from the player. So, oh, there it did. Okay, just took a minute for it to load. So now it doesn't have the content to play. So it did. If you go and delete it, I guess there's your answer. You can just delete the content, and it'll remove it from their schedules. I'm curious. I'm going to look at their schedule to see if it showed anything. Yeah, nothing scheduled on their schedule.
Okay.
So yeah, there's the way. I think so. I never knew how to actually address that. I've always just dealt with like single players. So
Right.
I think they all should have tags now. The players should have tags, both the all tag as well as their individual location tag. The individuals that are managing this on their location can only manage their players instead of all of the players. So you guys have access to all the players. They will only have access to their players.
Cool.
Any other questions? All right, well, this has been recorded, so you guys will have access once again, probably much better tutorials on the tutorial site on this website. So if you guys do have trouble logging in, reach out to Ben. He should be able to help you out, or Ben, if you can reach out to me if you have any problems, I'll be glad to help out. But I believe I have everybody set up with access to create, modify, and publish. They do not have access, all have access to the players.
I actually do have a quick question.
Sure.
How do we go about resetting somebody's password?
So that, that is something they can do. I don't believe you have access to reset passwords, because if you go into this, you can actually, there's one way, obviously. So let's say these people here, you click on it, there's no access to log in or to change password. The only way I know of to truly do it is to delete them and then to re-add them. I've seen that have trouble, but they can go in and actually click reset password, and it should be, as long as this email address is correct. If it's not, you have to delete them anyway. As long as that email address is correct, they can go in and reset password, and it'll send them something to their email to reset the password.
Hey Todd,
Yes.
my last name is Henshaw, first name is Scott. My initial email, when I clicked on it, said that it had expired. So I never was able to even get in there in the first place.
And that's something that I don't know how to actually fix that. You should be able to go in and once again, go in and change password. Same thing. I know that it's you never got to log in, but it should send you an email to allow you to change your password the same way. So
Okay.
like you go in there and just say forgot password or however it is. I know that it says your initial one, the temporary one, whatever it timed out. You still should be able to go in there and change password.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And I apologize. And I'm not sure how else to do it other than that, because there's no way for an admin to go in there and change passwords, I think, which I don't like, but that's not my software. All right, well, guys, appreciate it. If you have any questions, once again, there are tons of tutorials on there. I hope everything, it should be all set up and ready to rock and roll.
Thank you, Todd.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great afternoon.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.